one of the biggest things here is that there's a racial gap that has opened up for the COVID-19 pandemic's dispensary of the vaccinations. So it is seen basically. I just would like to get a document open very quickly. There we go. Slightly more than 6% of the American adults have received at least the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, but it's disproportionately small number of them are Black and Hispanic people. Actually, the data here makes one mistake or one has an issue. It
Mm.
was an AP analysis, and basically it added white and non-white Hispanic people into the white number just to find a control for the disparity between the two numbers that they saw. So, in an early look at 17 states and two cities that have released racial breakdowns through January 25th, found that Black people in all places are getting inoculated at levels below their share of the general population. In some cases, significantly below. And I'm going
Mm.
to show you a little data on that. The data came from Alaska, Colorado, Delaware, Florida, Indiana, Maryland, Mississippi, Nebraska, New Jersey, North Carolina, Ohio, Oregon, Tennessee, Texas, Vermont, Virginia, and West Virginia, plus two cities, Philadelphia
Wow.
and Chicago. I'm just making sure to note how many different places that this information came from. So here's just one of the graphs here.
Wow.
It just
Wow.
shows here that this is a percentage number. So this is a percentage of the people who are allowed to get the vaccine and what they have gotten. And if you note, like Maryland has a very this it's great that Maryland's in this control for the beginning, because the numbers here is that if you see the purple here, it's a percentage of vaccinated who are Black. 75% plus is about this dark green, and the healthcare workers are the lighter green. That is the aqua green. So it's just showing you the disparity that about 40%, which is a okay number of those people in Maryland, for instance, that are healthcare workers are receiving the vaccine. But there's a huge disparity between that and just the rest of the population,
Mm.
even the 75 plus people. So just to give a comparison, unfortunately, and it's a dangerous comparison because it adds both white and Latino people together, which is it just makes it a little bit more difficult in my opinion. It doesn't. It shows you that of the people who are available to get the vaccine, some of these numbers in like let's go to just Maryland for instance and compare. It's at 70% for
Wow.
these. So it's just to match the two. Unfortunately, you have to do that. And I just want to talk about it because this is a disparity that I think is happening across the world. We're not even talking about it in I wanted to bring in a story about Israel and Palestine too, who Israel is going to give about 5,000 vaccines to the Palestinian community. That is not within its border. It's in the Israeli borders, in the West Bank and Gaza. But this must be happening across the world, where you
Mm.
have the groups that are the disparaged group receiving a lower vaccine count. Some of them by choice. We've kind of talked about it, but I mean, this would be a great time to just talk it out because
Well,
I
I
mean,
think in general, with a lot of the stuff that goes on with governments and everything, they always put the rich and everybody else that's like their priority first. You know what I mean? Like things that keep the economy going. They don't care about like the weak or the sickly or whatever it is at the end of the day. I feel I'm not surprised at any of this stuff. I think at the end of the day, you have to do what you can by yourself until you get a chance to get the vaccine. I don't think you can't at this moment can trust what government at the moment is doing. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm wrong for feeling that way, but I don't think they're really pushing hard to give it to everybody. And I think financially, go ahead. What were you saying? What were you gonna say?
oh, I was just gonna say that's exactly the more of the point. I don't think they're putting a progressive enough vaccination program in place where we're
Mm-hmm.
actually going out there to reach out to these communities. And that is going to be the real problem here is that you're going to have to reach deep into these communities and get them to actually accept this. And I know there's two parts of this. There's the part there there's a Black community that has a legitimate fear of just being the new drugs, given the new drug. You know,
Mm.
I think we understand that. But we have to acknowledge the science that it's hurting the Black and Latino population at a much higher rate. So we need to focus on that. We need to somehow, we can't just change their mind, but we can go from person to person and be like, please go to the vaccination facility. And we haven't gotten to that point. We haven't, like, and we're hoping, I think we're at a point where we're hoping Biden will start that, right?
No,
That's
no,
kind of where we're at a starting point for.
no. They haven't educated people well either on how to use the resources that are in their area. So like, either they don't trust the resources, or they're not educated enough. I'm not that they can't be educated, more that they're just not informed of like where to actually get some of these resources. I know some people, they want to get like vaccinated and everything else, and they don't even know where to go. They want to get funding for, some sort of like help for like the COVID and relief, stimulus or whatever, and they have no idea where to go.
Yeah,
and,
I think
and
it has a lot to comes down to a lot with the rollout of how they're doing things. But I'd like to know more information, like how much, like, vaccinations. A lot of people are scared. It rolled out really quickly. I think a lot of people are hesitant on that front by itself. I mean, colored me surprised that they're not making sure that people who are the most getting hit by it, which are people of color and people who are disparagingly probably in poorer neighborhoods, they're not getting the vaccinations. It could be a lot with the rollout. I know Newark has already implemented a rollout where they're having people go online and enroll like that, but I don't know how well these other places are trying to do stuff like that. And people are scared. They're not sure if this stuff's going to work, And you've got people who have money who are willing to give whatever they can to get this vaccine too. So you wonder how much of it is actually getting to be going where it's supposed to be going. How many people are greasing palms to get this vaccination like in a timely manner instead of having to wait? Because a lot of people have to wait.